1 Samuel chapter 30, loving on you online on the East City campus. I'm reading from the English Standard Version. If you have it, say, I've got it. And we find these words. Now, when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day, the Amalekites had made raid against the Negeb and against Ziklag. They had overcome Ziklag and burned it with fire and taken captive the women and all who were in it, both small and great. They killed no one, but carried them off and went their way. And when David and all his men came to the city, they found it burned with fire and their wives and sons and daughters taken captive. And then David and the people who were with him raised their voices and wept until they had no more strength to weep. David's two wives also had been taken captive, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail, the widow of Nabal of Carmel. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because all the people were bitter in soul, each for his sons and daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. Look at your neighbor before you take your seat. Smile at him. Smile at him. Tell him, neighbor, you will recover. Amen, amen. You're going to have your seat. Presence of God. Put your hands on yourself and say, I will recover. I like to tag this text and teach from the topic, I will recover. Give me just a few moments to set this up. If I can be transparent with you, I am concerned about the emotional and social welfare of people in this season. This is a hard time to be Christian. It's a hard time to not be Christian, wanting to be Christian, but Christians' witness make you doubt Christianity. It's a hard time to be black. It's a hard time to have immigrant parents. This is a hard season. It's hard when we watch deliberate policy decisions that transfer wealth from working families to the already wealthy. It's a hard season when SNAP benefits and WIC benefits have the potential of being cut while corporate subsidies increase. It's a hard time. It's a hard time when healthcare costs are rising at the same time insurance companies' profits are going through the roof. It's a hard time. It's a hard time when our young people are anxious at a new level, where they are now navigating a world where a college degree now costs what a house used to cost. While they are experiencing moments when entry-level jobs pay what a semester of textbooks costs. When we have seniors in this room that have to sometimes choose between medication and meals. And all of this is going on in the wealthiest nation in the world. In the same way, 1 Samuel chapter 30 is before us, and this is one of the darkest periods in Israel's history. King Saul has been rejected by God, and the nation is in political chaos. David, although he is anointed, and David, although he is the future king, finds himself, listen to this family, living as a fugitive in an enemy territory. If I to drag you in to 1 Samuel chapter 30, David has done something he never expected as the king, future king, that he would have to do. David discovered that he had to make some compromises in order to just survive. Can I put a pin in this? Sometimes God's anointed people will find themselves in Philistine territory. And sometimes I'm in Philistine territory not because I lack faith, but because there is a system that has left me no other choice. Preach, Pastor Gailliard. For 16 months, David and his 600 men have been living in Ziklag. Everybody say Ziklag. They've had to compromise and not live out what they have really been ordained and taught to live out. They were in a funky place. They were too Hebrew to be a Philistine, but they were too compromised to be with the Israelites. You ever been there? If not, keep living where I don't know that I fit in anywhere. They kind of felt like I'm neither you and I'm not you. I have to always prove myself to people in order to be legitimate. And I don't know if I'm just preaching to James Gailliard, but it's exhausting living in a place where you feel like you all by yourself. I got 100 people around me and I still feel all by myself. But can I give you a word to encourage the house? I said, can I give you a word to encourage the house? God is when everything else isn't. Who am I preaching to? That God does not abandon me when I make poor choices. Am I the only one? Kyle talked about it when he gave the welcome today. Am I the only one that if I look back over my life, I'm glad that while I was in Ziklag and I was hanging out with Philistines, that God did not withdraw his grace from me. I'm grateful that God will show up even when I'm in enemy territory. If you don't believe me, God didn't save you while you were in some great place. God saved you when you were in enemy territory. While I was yet his enemy, he showed up for me. What I'm trying to get somebody to see, y'all, is that God's commitment to you is not contingent upon your perfection. I'm gonna say it again. His commitment to you is not contingent on your perfection. It is anchored in his character. That means when I'm in Ziklag and not in Jerusalem, when I'm compromised and not consecrated, when I'm barely hanging on instead of advancing, God is still with me. In the midst of all of this, we find that David has now seemingly lost everything. Loses everything, and you read the text, the people that used to be with him coming against him. He's in a mess, but when you read through chapter 30, I might as well give you the shouting point early and come get it later. By the time you get back to the end of chapter 30, everything he lost in the first 6 verses, he gonna get back by the end of the chapter. Can I put a pin in that just to help somebody get encouraged? Everything you lost in the beginning, if you just hang in there and keep trusting and keep believing and keep being faithful. Is there anybody in church that believes that God can help you get it all back? As a matter of fact, God will give it back with interest. He'll give it back with dividend payments. He'll give it back with a +1. He'll give it back exponentially. I'm here to tell you, keep on living. It's all gonna come back. Text teaches us what needs to happen in order for me to be able to recover from everything I've experienced. I'm gonna speak prophetically in this house for these few moments I have. You will recover. I'm gonna say it again, you will recover. Some of you sitting there like, well, I don't have anything to recover from. Keep living. There will be a moment in my life when I'm gonna need to be reminded that trouble don't last always. There's going to be a moment that I need to be reminded that he that's inside of me is greater than he that's in the world. There's going to come, I need to be reminded that he who has started a good work in me will complete it. David teaches us what happens in order to recover. I want to leave these few points with us for just a moment. First thing that I want to leave all of us with is that I have to learn how to assess the aftermath. David and his men reach Ziklag. They get there and they found it, watch this, destroyed by fire. Y'all, the Hebrew word literally means burned down completely. I need you to hear this. It literally means totally irreversible devastation. You misplaced a shout. Totally irreversible devastation. Totally irreversible devastation. But God is God enough to reverse the irreversible. There has been a systematic destruction of their stability, their security, and their future hope. Every home in the community is reduced to charcoal. Listen to me, family. One of the most liberating things we can do is stop pretending that my situation isn't as bad as it is. I'm preaching better than y'all realize. Because sometimes, y'all, I can't get to a place of better until I'm honest that this thing is a mess right now. It was complete destruction. I've got to learn, y'all, to stop pretending when it isn't as bad as it is, and I've got to stop accepting full responsibility for situations that weren't fully in my control. David called it what it was. It was complete destruction. Please hear me. He didn't spiritualize it. Some of y'all caught that. No, he didn't end it with, but God is good. He didn't end it, but the Lord will make a way. I'm coming to get y'all. He didn't end it with, but I got favor. No, I'm in a mess. See, let me help us for a moment, y'all. Maybe this week I need to take some time and I need to ask myself, God, what's really broken in my life and how come it's broken? Because I'm learning, y'all, that things can't get better until I'm able to name what's really messed up in my life. Y'all, I'm not talking about avoiding responsibility. I'm talking about accurate diagnosis, because I can't heal what I won't name. And I can't recover from what I've misdiagnosed. I've got to be honest about how bad it is. Maybe your career went up in smoke because it wasn't really discrimination. Maybe it was your performance. Preach, Pastor James Gailliard. I say I got to be honest about what's broken and why it's broken. Maybe I don't have no real good friends because I don't know how to be a friend. I've got to own my health. I may not be sick because the healthcare system is broken. I might be sick because I don't eat right. Family, hear your pastor. When I name my devastation accurately, it begins the restoration process. Bible says that he honest about his assessment of the aftermath. They get back to Ziklag and everything is burned down. And it says something interesting. The men and David begin crying to the point that they had no tears left to cry. Y'all, let me tell you what that is. That's ugly crying. This snot crying. This is salt and soul deep wailing. Yo, this is going to bless somebody, maybe if it just blessed me. Sometimes we can't recover and get restoration because I'm too busy suppressing my emotions. Sometimes you have to grieve until you're empty. Sometimes you have to cry and dare for people to say you're not a real man. Sometimes you got to let the emotions out. See, sometimes we can't get recovered, y'all, because I'm acting like it don't hurt me. Can I go ahead and deliver the house? And give you permission to get angry, give you permission to cry some tears, give you permission to have emotional authenticity, because when I am emotionally authentic, it is not weakness, it is wisdom. Let me come get y'all. Is this too mature of a sermon? Let me say it like this. I can't recover from what I refuse to feel. Look at your neighbor, tell him you have permission to grieve. I need somebody to get this. My emotions are not my enemies. My emotions are my compass. They tell me what matters, and what matters can be redeemed. First thing that David does is he assesses the aftermath. He takes a look at what's going on. And this week, y'all hear your pastor. Ask yourself, what's broke in my life? And why is it broke? I might find that I may need to ask the Lord, deliver me from me. I might need to ask the Lord, I'm busy pointing the finger at everybody else, and it might be on me that something is broken. I'm so sick of y'all blaming Trump for stuff. Why would you be mad at somebody for being who they always claimed they were? I ain't scared of y'all. I'm a grown man. I don't blame him. I blame the folk that didn't vote. Now you need your SNAP benefits. Now you're concerned about WIC. Now you're concerned about the condition of things. But the reality of it is, it's not a Republican Party problem. It's not a white problem. It's not a Trump problem. It's an apathy problem. Had you cared, you'd be in a better place. So take a step back and assess the aftermath. First thing the text teaches us, I need to take a step back and say, no wonder I have a 1.6 GPA. I'd rather have partied. It's not that my professor didn't speak good English. I wish I had my college students, people who've been to school can testify. When I'm not understanding quite what my professor says, but I have a whole tutoring center that I refuse to go to. No, I'm not flunking because the system is bad. I'm flunking because of choices I made. That's why one day I'm going to retire as your pastor, because if I stay too long, we'll look back, and when we used to have crowds, we won't have crowds, and then I can't blame everybody else. I have to take a good look at me and say, maybe it would have been better had I not stayed so long. What I'm trying to get you to see is that I need to make an honest assessment of the aftermath. I need to ask myself, how come it's broken, and who's responsible for making it broke? It's the first thing David does. Takes an honest assessment. He says, man, we are burnt down. Had I not been so busy, this real talk, compromising with the Philistines. But there's a second thing the text teaches. I'm not going to keep y'all long today because I want y'all to come back at 4. But I got a good word for 4 o'clock. But there's a second thing the text teaches. Second thing the text teaches, I need to absorb the assault when it comes. David weeps loudly along with the men until the Bible says they had no strength left to weep. The Bible also says that David's 2 wives had been captured. Watch this. And David was greatly distressed because the men were talking of stoning him. Let me grab y'all. David is in the same situation as the men are in. They didn't just have their wives captured. He had his family captured too. But isn't it funny how vultures always circle the wounded? Family, let me tell you about what rock bottom looks like. When you and I hit rock bottom, it's never as rocky and as much of a bottom as you realize. Pastor, what do you mean? Because crisis has friends. Trouble travels in packs. Because the devil doesn't fight fair. When David thought things could not get worse, they got worse. I was praying about this message. The Lord said, this is what I want you to tell the people. I said, what you want me to tell the people, Lord? Tell them that we raising up warriors at Word Tabernacle. Tell your neighbor, I'm a warrior. I want you to get this. And let me tell you about warriors. Warriors know how to make it when things go from bad to worse. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse than it is, and it gets even worse, warriors know how to hold it together. Warriors know how to trust God even when things did not get better. And I'm speaking prophetically to you. You may not want to hear it, but I'm going to give it to you. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But because you're a warrior, you still going to be able to make it through. Let me help y'all for a moment. These were the same men that he was in the cave of Adullam with. The same men, somebody shout the same men. The same men that were distressed. The same men that were brokenhearted. The same men that were depressed. The same men that said, we want you to be our leader. Now, when things get bad, the same people that were praising him are the same men that's plotting to kill him. Can I give y'all a delivery moment if you can handle it? People, the men did not turn on David because he was a bad leader. They turned on David because their grief needed a target. See, when we in the midst of grief, we look for somebody to blame. We look for a reason to point the finger. Can I get deep and prophetic for just a moment? This is what systemic oppression looks like. Shoot, one over your head. I said, this is what systemic oppression looks like. A system creates a problem. And the people in the system, instead of fighting the system, fight each other. Preach, James Gailliard. So they underfund schools and they pit parents against teachers. They suppress wages and watch workers blame immigrants. They defund communities and watch neighbors turn on each other. See, the policy creates the problem. Propaganda provides the scapegoat, and people attack each other instead of dealing with the problem. Boy, I'm preaching better than I'm getting credit. Because the problem is not David, and the problem are not his men. The problem are the folk that showed up to take their family. So why are we fighting with each other and not fighting the real enemy? Who am I preaching to? The person on your row is not your enemy. Some black person or white person is not your enemy. Immigrants are not your enemy. We've got to fight the real enemy. I've got to address and identify. Tell your neighbor, I'm not your enemy. I'm not. So here we have a moment of the loneliness of leadership and loss. Family, who am I preaching to when I say this? But when you're winning, everybody want to be on your team. Who am I talking to? When you blessing folk, your phone ringing all the time. When you're the solution to everybody's problem, you're everybody's favorite person. But when you're losing, when you need help instead of giving it, when you're asking instead of answering, watch how fast your contact list starts to shrink. Let me tell you something. People will go quickly from I got you to I gotta go. But can I give you a prophetic word in the house? All their abandonment does is reveal your character, and it doesn't determine your destiny. When people leave you at your lowest moment, they were never your people anyway. They were beneficiaries and not believers. They loved what you could do, but not who you were. They were consumers and not companions. Can I give you a word that help bless you? You're going to be fine without them. Let me talk to this side of the room. I say you're going to be fine without them. Can I tell you how God always has a ram in the bush? God always has somebody in waiting to be able to fill a gap and fill a spot. Can I give you a prophetic word real quick? Can I give you a word of knowledge and understanding real quick? This is important to understand. Sometimes people don't stay because they don't have the capacity to stay, because they are fighting their own battles and struggling with their own losses. So it's not always betrayal. Sometimes it's brokenness meeting brokenness, and they have nothing left to give. Whew. Can I say this real quick before I close this sermon? Get us ready for the night. Y'all, when folk abandon you, it just shows you who your tribe is. Is there anybody in church other than James Gailliard that is grateful for at least I know now? Because folk know how to hide a long time. And when the battle really comes, I don't need you leaving when the battle hits. I'd rather know ahead of time who I really have and who my tribe is. God is saying to somebody today, he's about to clarify your circle. He's about to burn away some superficial relationships. In verse 6, David loses 600 angry men. But if you keep reading the text, he still had a priest. He still had a promise that God was still working on things. Can I give y'all homework real quick before we close this sermon? Let me give you this homework real quick. I usually only do this at Tuesday, a Bible study, but I feel like we need to live this word out. You need 3 lists. I said you need 3 lists. I said you need 3 lists. And everybody you know needs to be on one of the lists. Y'all ready? You need a release list. We were together, but I need to release you now. And y'all need to hear me. Pray for them, forgive them, and let them go. I'm going to say it again. Pray for them, forgive them, and let them go. You need a release list. Now, this is the second thing you need. You need a real ones list. You need a ride or die list. You need some folk that no matter what, you know they're going to stick with you to the end. So everybody is either going to make the release list, the real ones list. Here's the last list, the reach out to you list. The reach out is, I'm not strong enough to save you, but I'm strong enough to sit down with you. I need to assess my situation. Let me close this sermon, y'all. Here's the last thing David does. It's the best part of these first 6 verses. The Bible says they weep till they don't have any more strength. And then the last sentence is a conjunction. Everything starts shifting. But David strengthened himself. Oh, God. This is going to be powerful if you can get it. Sometimes I need to stop waiting for other people to encourage me, and I need to just go ahead and encourage myself. Sometimes in order for me to get to a better place, I need to take my own responsibility for my emotional and my spiritual wellness. When I look at the verb form of verse 6, it indicates continuous action. David didn't one time strengthen himself. He kept strengthening himself. He repeatedly chose courage over fear. He repeatedly chose faith over despair. He repeatedly chose hope over resignation. Family, hear me. The moment I stop waiting for external validation is the quicker I can get to God recovering what I've lost. Now, I need you to get this. In a minute, you're going to have an opportunity to be saved and join the church. Joining the church is important. Hear me. But the church is not a God. I need somebody to get. Sometimes folk leave because they were expecting the church to be God. But the church is comprised of flawed people just like you. And just like you discourage people sometimes, they gonna discourage you sometimes. So the church community is essential, but healing cannot be contingent on the community's availability. If you live long enough, some human support is gonna run dry. Not because we don't need people. I need you to hear your pastor. Support runs dry, not because we don't need people, but because people can't always be what you need when you need it. Tell your neighbor that's why you need to be saved. Because if I'm only relying on people, I'm gonna stay stuck for years, sometimes decades. Because we have made our progress contingent on other people's actions. Tell you what I need to do. I need to strengthen myself in the Lord, my God. Oh God, who am I preaching to? Can I help you build a strength system real quick? Let me tell you one way you strengthen yourself. One way you strengthen yourself is take a moment of just gratitude. Just blink your eyes real fast and think about how far God has already brought you. Who am I preaching to? Take a moment right now and think about all of the good things that God has let come your way. The way I strengthen myself is the same God that opened up all those doors is still on the throne. That same God that has made a way out of no way is still actively working in my life. Can I tell you what I call it? I call it my remember when God list. Some of y'all caught it, but some of y'all missed it. Complete the sentence. Remember when God Y'all ain't thinking. I said y'all not thinking. Remember when God healed your body. Remember when God opened a door that you weren't even qualified for. Remember when God forgave you of that sin that should have sunk you. Is there anybody in church with a remember when God did it for me testimony? Look at your neighbor and tell two people, I remember when God. I remember when God blessed my life. I remember when God opened a door. I remember. Okay, y'all don't have no testimonies? All right, I'll let the Bible testify. Y'all hand me that microphone real quick so I can save my voice for the next service. I said, y'all don't have no remember God list? All right. Let me see what testimony we have on this other remember God stuff. Job testified, I remember when I lost everything, but because of God, I got double back. I said, does anybody in church have a I remember when God did it testimony? Job testified, I remember when I lost everything, but God gave me back double for everything I lost. Somebody shout, I remember when God. Joseph, come on to testify. I was sold in slavery by my own brothers, but God opened a door and I wound up second in command of Egypt. Somebody shout, I remember when God. Naomi testified, I lost my husband and my sons, but because of God and Ruth's loyalty, I gained a grandson. Peter testified, I denied Jesus 3 times, but I became the rock of the early church. I remember when enslaved Africans who could not read, but they built institutions of learning because God made a way out of nowhere. Is there anybody that can remember a grandmama who was a praying grandmama, who opened up a door, who God used to bless your life? We are still in a I remember when God can do it testimony. God specializes in resurrection, not just at Easter, but every day. Not just for Jesus, but for you and for me. Let me take you to the end of chapter 30 so we can get ready. Verse 6, everything is lost. Verse 8, you read the story, God says pursue. Verse 18 and 19, David recovered everything. Verse 20, he wound up getting increased spoils, so God didn't just give him back what he lost, he gave him back some stuff he never had at the beginning of the fight. Don't know who I'm preaching to, but when God gets done with you, he's not gonna just give you back everything that you lost. He gonna give you some stuff that the enemy had in their camp too. Somebody shout, and some more. God is gonna recover. Put your hands on yourself and say, I will recover. The job I thought was gone forever, I will recover. The relationship I thought was beyond repair, somebody shout, I will recover. The health that I thought was permanently compromised, I will recover. The joy that I thought was extinct, I will recover. The dream I thought was dead, I will recover. The hope that I thought was gone, somebody shout, I will recover. When life burns down your Ziklag, everybody shout, I will recover. When the enemy takes what belongs to you, somebody shout, I will recover. When systems try to break me, when policies try to erase me, when injustice tries to silence me, when I feel like I can't take another hit, because the same God that strengthened David, somebody shout, will strengthen me. The same God that restored Job, somebody shout, will restore me. The same God that raised Jesus from the dead, somebody shout, he'll raise me. Every closed door, I will recover. Every broken dream, I will recover. Every stolen blessing, I will recover. Every unjust policy, I will recover. Every discriminatory practice, I will recover. Every generational curse, I will recover. Because greater is he that's in me. Somebody shout, I will recover.